So if I want to maximize that time under tension for that bicep curl to get the most out of it, the first thing I want to do is just stop alternating, okay? The reason why is because if I'm alternating, okay, it's giving that opposite bicep more time to recover in between each rep. Or if I'm going at the same time, I'm really eliminating any rest time and increasing that time under tension, okay? So that's the big thing that you want to really be mindful of when it comes to curling. Is you want to increase that time under tension. So if I'm going at the same time, my biceps can't rest, okay? So they have to work at the same time with less time to recover in between reps, okay, to increase that time under tension, okay? The second thing, kind of along those lines, is just eliminating any momentum, okay? Because if I'm using momentum to get that weight up, especially if it's a heavier weight, okay, I'm not really using my bicep. I'm using my bicep, a little bit of bicep, as well as everything else. I'm using my back, I'm using my hips, I'm using everything. And if I want to do a bicep curl for my biceps, you got to eliminate momentum, okay? So if I'm curling at the same time, it's really going to force my body to stabilize and stay nice and tight. So all the work is actually coming from my biceps, and I'm not using momentum. So you notice there's no swinging, okay? And everything is working through the biceps. So the biceps are working overtime. So when it comes to the actual contraction part of the bicep curl now, when we're actually bringing it up and squeezing, okay? You want to maximize that as well. So what I see a lot is when we're alternating, we bring it up there, but we don't hold it for any duration of time. We bring it up and we bring it right back down, okay? You want to maximize that as well. So what I like to do is, as I start curling up, at the same time, I start to slightly elevate my elbows up as I'm curling, rather than just bringing it up right here and bringing it right back down. I'll slightly elevate my elbow up and curl, and once I finally get to that top portion, I'm squeezing my bicep as hard as I absolutely can for close to about a second before I come back down. The reason I want to raise those elbows up slightly, it just increases that total tension on the bicep. And if you try, you'll know what I mean. But so if I'm here, I'm gonna start curling, I'm gonna rise those elbows up slightly, and then I'm gonna squeeze my bicep as hard as I possibly can at the top before I come down. So I'm up, elbows come up, squeezing as hard as I can, right back down. So don't neglect that top portion, the actual squeezing of the bicep, because that's very important as well. Right, and the last part of the curl, and probably the most important part of the curl, is the lowering or the eccentric portion of the curl. So a lot of times when people finally get it up, they just let that weight drop, okay? That's the last thing you want to do, like I said, to maximize total time under tension of your bicep, to increase that potential of getting it as big as you possibly can. So the one thing that you want to do is you want to control that tempo on the way down. Once you get to that bottom, you want to get a full extension, okay? So I don't want a slight bend in the elbow. You want to come all the way down before you come back up. Every time, control the tempo on the way down. I usually like to use a 3-second count. You can go as long or as quick as you want. You just don't want to let it drop uncontrollably, okay? So I'm here, I'm curling it up, I'm squeezing, 3, 2, 1, full extension of the elbows, no half curls, full extension of the elbows, right back up. 3, 2, 1, full extension, right back up. All right, and the last few details that you just want to be mindful of, like I said, just to maximize that overall tension, is just wrist position, okay? In relation to both the curl and your wrist position on the actual dumbbell. So when we end up at the top of the curl, we almost want our palms to be facing up. We don't want our palms facing in at the top of that curl. I want the palms up to increase that tension, okay? Last thing to increase that tension is your grip position. You want it to be on the inside portion of the dumbbell. You don't want your hands way out here. You want to get as close as you can to the inside portion of the dumbbell when you curl, like I said, just to maximize that time under tension. And you'll know what I mean once you actually try it yourself. But those are the big things that you really want to key in and change when it comes to really getting the most out of your bicep.